Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Amma. Hello. Hello. Yesterday we have started our discussion on international human resource management. I think several aspects we were discussing, and today I'd like to focus on the other things. Why should we discuss about international human resource management? I think yesterday we have started our discussion. Some of the things that we were discussing, they're about um, globalization of business activities. I'll be discussing maybe after some time how these business organizations they are moving from a local organization to a transnational organization. I'll be discussing yesterday some of these things I was touching upon. One of the reasons why we need to discuss about international human resource management is today's business activities they are globalized. I think we know online businesses today, you order for something, I think you are getting within no time. Sometimes the person who is in your place, I think he'll be supplying so many things to people outside this country. Every small business activity today, it is connected because it is connected in the sense networked or hooked. Because of these reasons, I think that globalization has taken place not only with business, every activity that we are observing today, I think they have become globalized. The second thing that we can see is about if you want to be a successful person in any business, what is required is people. When I say people, when I say human resources, I mean people with the right kind of attitudes, right kind of skills, then a right kind of knowledge and right kind of habit. They decide the success or failure of a business. And that is what we have realized. Not only we, every country has realized people, they make all the difference. And therefore, they have understood that we need to recruit people from different walks of life, or I can tell different nationalities. The reason being, our business is going to different countries. Then there is yet another reason we can say if you take a traditional organization structures, they were totally different. They were like command control type. You have got product structure you had, process structure you had. And I'm not saying they are wrong, but today we got into this network organization structure. Because of this network organization structure, I think today you're finding lot of business. Sometimes without moving into that country, you are able to establish your organization. And we got temporary workers everywhere, and they do your job. Now, there's a shift of organizations from popular and established hierarchical structure to modern network organization structure. This also encouraged people to go into this international business that has resulted in international human resource management. Then there is a significant increase in the role of HRM in the control of implementation and control of strategies. Now you have a strategy, you have crafted a strategy, and that has to be taken forward, and that has to go down to the lowest level, and this will be done through your human resources. And this strategic management also necessitated or enhanced the role of human resource management, international human resource management. These are some of the reasons why I'm again repeating, thinking that there will be one or two persons, and maybe they take one or two points, and um, I think based on that, they present their uh, answers and other things. Now, what are the characteristics of international human resource management? I think some of these things we'll be repeating in various answers. I have to put it like this. The reason is how we are going to present it based on the question that is asked. We will decide or we will see. Now, what are the need for IHRM or characteristics of IHRM? Now, IHRM, number one, we should know it has got broader perspective. And of course, I'll be discussing there are certain additional things. See, if you take HRM in an organization which is confined to a local level, maybe you'll be emphasizing on recruitment, selection, induction, training, these things, on some of these things. But today, if we use just that word recruitment, it has so many things. For example, we talk about expat. You talk about the families of expats. We talk about documentation procedures. We talk about immigration. So we don't confine ourselves to one aspect. This IHRM, it has a broader aspects. So you can say in sometimes they ask you in what way IHRM is different from domestic HRM. You can present the way you want, but I'm uh, keeping all these points before you. The second thing is there is an involvement of employees' personal life. See, again, if you consider a local company's human resource management, maybe you are much bothered about the employees coming to the office and doing his work, his recruitment, these things you are thinking. But here it is not like that. In the case of international HRM, lot of things are there. You are talking about employee, you're talking about employee. I think even yesterday I was telling employee spouse, his children, his parents, then relocation, the documentation. See, then when they move to a different country, how they face certain cultural shocks, all these things we you have to consider. Therefore, the second thing that we'll say, that international HRM has lot of involvement in employees' personal lives. Then emphasis on changes in the workplace. The in the case of a company which is highly localized, people they come, they work, and they go because maybe they are from. I can tell you. I use the word community in this, not in terms of religion like that. So the local community they come, they work, and they go. But when we consider international human resource management, there's a lot of changes that are required in the sense changes in the workplace. So you can't do things the way you were doing when your community was there. Today you are having in your organization people from different walks of life. When you have people from different walks of life, there'll be a diversity. There'll be diversity, and you might be having people from different nations, from different cultures, and you need to make an effort to understand them, and you have to respect them. Sometimes you may have to bring a certain changes, at least a certain changes in your workplace. Then we get into exposure. Today our business organization, once they go out, we are exposed to lot of risk. I'll try to put it, you're exposing your life to greater amount of risk. Now you are, let's say you are sent to a country as an expat, or you are sent to a country where your company is um, newly established. You have to go for example, a country like China or Korea. You have to go, you have to understand them, you have to learn, and you know how to mix with those people, sometimes not to mix with those people. Let me tell you, a small mistakes may bring a greater disaster to organization, in the sense, because you may lose the entire business. Therefore, you need to be very careful. Then we will say you have more external influences. So not only the internal influences, they influence you, you have more external influences. The external influences, it will start with your dollar rate. You can think in terms of money, you can think in terms of cultural aspect, you can think in terms of governmental aspect. So many things they influence our organizations. See, when they ask you the difference between traditional and or I'll put it low domestic, the appropriate term is domestic HRM and international HRM. Some of these points you can write under characteristics, you can write under need, you can write under nature. A few more things I'll try to put before you. There are other things which distinguish between, or this which are separate international HRM from domestic HRM. Why do we our people they go to some countries to make money? Because they are going there to make money because they think they can save lot of money because of tax related things. Now HRM previously were not much bothered about tax matter, but when you get into this international HRM, you need to tell people, "Arey, you are going there, Baba. See, so much amount of money you are going to save in the form of tax. Maybe in some countries, I do not know, tax exemption might be there, how much money you can bring as a, when you come back, or how much tax you have to pay, or how much money salary that you are saving. All these things you are trying to explain. Therefore, it is not just our domestic HR functions like pay. Here you are discussing a lot of things relating to tax and other things. Then there are other issues like relocation. Those things you have to discuss. In international HRM, you are recruited someone. That person may have to relocate from a comfortable place. Sometimes there are some places which are not familiar, which are not so comfortable. Maybe let's say a place like Hyderabad, it is comfortable to many people. And Hyderabad, if we have to shift, if we have to relocate, I think there will be a lot of issues that or there are a lot of concerns will be there. So you have to talk in our international HRM about relocation. Then the next thing is familiarization at the international level also. How these people they need to behave, how they need to address, how they need to talk, how they need to understand the other culture. So many things I think involved. See, all these things you have to talk to people, teach them in international HRM. Then there are administrative services for expatriates, people who have come from other countries. You have to provide lot of administrative services. Then parent company or parent companies, government and host government relations, they influence a lot. Suppose overnight if something happens, one comment by any person who is in the host country or parent country, sometimes that will have impact. Therefore they will influence international HRM. Then adaptation of language services. Sometimes there are certain words. These words they convey different meaning. Certain words you cannot understand, and adapting the language services also becomes essential thing. Then in international HRM, there is something called cross cultural training, cross cultural communication. I think they play a vital role. I think in domestic HRM or an ordinary HRM, I'll put it, we you won't pay much attention to these things. But when you think about international HRM, you pay attention to all these aspects. Then, as I told you, there's a lot of involvement in employees' personal life, and people they are exposed to greater amount of risk. Then broader external influences. I told you, effects of expatriates and local workforce mix. Let's say you're gone from Hyderabad to, let us say, a country like Saudi or country like Korea or China. You go there and you mix with them, and sometimes we do not know um, whether problems they crop up because of misunderstandings. I can give several example because of this online teaching. People may misunderstand. Therefore, I'm not giving these examples. See, because we experience some of these things from our students who come from foreign country. Sometimes some of the things um, out of ignorance that we speak, they may misunderstand, or what they speak, we may also misunderstand. And for some of them, I think a lot of language barriers will be there. Present tense, past tense. Sometimes we mix all these things, the way we talk. See, all these things they happen. Um, these are called effects of expatriates and local workforce mix-up. Then lot of cultural environment. When people come recently, I was watching one small movie. The reason for watching that small movie was because I had to teach at one place on intercultural communication. If I'm not wrong, um, that movie, I think it's something about outsourcing. And that person, he comes out on uh, Holy Day, not holiday, holy. We have a festival, holy day. When it comes out on that one, the way our people will be enjoying and all these things. Initially, uh, a little cultural shock will be there. So we try to understand culture plays a vital role, and one has to again differentiate between religion, culture, values, beliefs. You need to understand. Sometimes you can't mix them. You can't mix them. See, again, it happens to big subject, but there is a cultural environment one has to understand. Then the industry with which the multinational is primarily involved also plays a vital role. Then, let's say if you're an insurance company, the types of insurances, likewise, if you're in hospitality industry, there a lot of influences will be there. The extent of reliance of the multinational on its home country and domestic market, to what extent you are depending on your home country's company, or on a parent company. It all, you go there, and can you be independent there? For several things you may have to depend on your parent company, and that will have a lot of impact. Then the attitudes of senior management, uh, again, here a lot of behavioral things will be there. You go to a foreign country and you are working there, the way your seniors behave, the way, the way the seniors exhibit their attitude. Sometimes you don't exhibit, but the thing is, we infer based on the things. I think some people, they have got high contextual people. Sometimes they go by everything in black and white. Now all these things they play. See, you might be thinking, "Are so many things this fellow is talking." Yes, only one thing I can tell you is one has to experience. But only thing we are talking, like people on the sitting on the bank of river, and thinking how it would be if we swim and all these things we are talking. So the all these things also they play a vital role. Now, what are the complexities? What are the challenges today that we are facing? Let me tell you, when they ask a question relating to nature of international HRM, complexities of international HRM, how international HRM is different from a domestic HRM. Try to keep in mind all these things and prepare your answer accordingly. With that intention, under different caption, under different headings, I'm trying to put answer. Let me tell you, some of these points may appear as if they are repeated time and again. But only thing is to impress upon you that if you have all these points in mind, I think you'll be in a position to write your answer based on the question that is given. Now, we will talk slightly about what are the complexities that are involved, or what are the challenges that are involved in IHRM. Four things we try to put. One is a broader perspective. I think I was discussing about that. The second thing, there is something known as ethical and corporate social responsibilities. The third thing, something, the word that we use, it's called bribery. You have to define what you mean by a bribe. Then, code of conduct for international business. Some of these things, they are complexities, they pose as if they are challenge, but I think it's not you can't overcome. But the thing is, if you understand, you'll be in a position to deal with them effectively. Now, though, as I told you, it has a broader view, broader view in the sense there are several issues which are of international level. They get into IHRM. As I tell you, expatriated benefits, a very big subject. I'll be discussing about expatriates and the problem they face, what are the benefits, so many things. A lot of research work undergone on this topic. Then cross culture work dynamics. Oh my God, when you join in an international organization, when you are working with them, there are several cross cultural aspects. Okay, they will have impact. It could be relating to communication, it could be relating to some space, it could be relating to talking to people, and there are several things I can tell you. Then you should know how to manage it. It has a broader aspect. The second thing which I didn't touch so far, it's about ethics and corporate social responsibility in the international business environment. And all these things are debatable. Several times, MNCs have been accused of being indifferent to the problems of host country. You know about several MNCs. They don't care for the, that's what people accuse. They don't care for the lives of the people, right? Um, they are always concerned about their profitability. And when you become an MNC, when you become an international organization, you should know how to balance several things along with your profit, your ethics. Then again, when we talk about moral, what is moral? Morality. What is moral? What is legal? What is moral and what is legal? Sometimes certain things are legal, and some countries they consider them as immoral. It may be legal, but they view it as immoral. Then, likewise, in some places, certain things, actually, all these are the thing called relatives. What you consider as moral in other country, they may consider it as immoral. So you have to be careful. Then the next thing that we are here when we talk about ethics and some of these things, there is something called um, ethical relativist in ethics. For them, there is no right or wrong. What is right in a particular situation in one place may not be so in another. Relativism offers flexibility, but that may prove to be disastrous in the long run for an MNC. So, when you think about international HRM, there you have to think about what is right, what is wrong, what is right in one place. It may not be right in other places also. Then, the next thing that we talk about, an MNC which believes in this approach is strongly influenced by practices and policies of its home country. and they don't give much importance to the culture of the host country. Ethical absolutes have been criticized for their arrogance and for showing little um, little respect to the traditions and cultures of host countries. So there are relativists, there are absolutes. Then we have people, ethical universalists. These ethical universalists, they believe that there are fundamental rules which help us differentiate between right and wrong. These rules we need to adhere, whatever be the country and whatever be the situation. The cross cultural variations between countries should not lead to any wrongdoing on the part of MNCs. So, like this, when you talk about ethics, corporate social responsibility, these things they govern. These things they govern. You need to, I think, understand these things. Then we talk about bribery. All these things they come when you discuss about international business. Now the basic question is, what is bribe? What you consider as bribe? Do you think bribe is a normal thing or bribe is something which is wrong? According to survey conducted by J. McKen, developed countries, they give around 85 billion to underdeveloped countries in the form of bribes. MNCs from developed countries have been accused of bribing government officials. Hence, countries should frame laws to prevent this sort of corruption. Don't think I'm talking some other subject. I'm talking international HRM. What are the complexities that are involved in international HRM? So these things we are discussing. Then we talk about code of conduct for international business. See, as I told you, it's a complex one. The first step in framing code of conduct for international business players came in the form of the Cox Roundtable Conference on Principles for Business Conduct held in 1994. It was a conference on international business ethics held at Cox, Switzerland, and was attended by the business leaders from all countries. The focus was to formulate a set of rules and ethical codes which would be used for benchmarking global business practices. The main aim of Cox Conference, as given the charter, is to further the twin value of living and working together on human dignity by promoting free trade, environmental and cultural integrity, and prevention by bribery and corruption. So you need to have international code and that they have brought. There are other challenges that you face when you go for this international HRM. The challenge is number one, you are going to have diversity. You need to accept when I say diversity, I'm talking about different nations. And all these days we were talking about men and women. You allow the third gender. Then people they have got different orientations. Then religious beliefs. And sometimes people say they have no religion also. Then, apart from these things, there are several other things you need to accommodate. Then, are you going to do all these things? You have to do, but you need to face this kind of challenge. It may look, it may sound pretty good when you listen, but adjusting yourself in this diversity uh, environment, sometimes you may find it little difficult. Then, facilitation of seamless communication. Oh, it's a big problem. You know very well that within our country, in our country only, for every word in different languages, sometimes they convey different kinds of meanings. So some of the words for some people may be an offense, and you didn't mean, but they take it that way. And when I talk about communication, I'm talking about verbal communication and non-verbal communication. It's a big challenge. How you talk to people, how you look at people. See, looking at people also as a very big subject, non-verbal communication. Then the third thing that we talk about, you need to prepare a global payroll. That's a big challenge. How do you prepare this global payroll? Then, failing to manage expatriate assignments, it becomes too costly sometimes. Then, pay equality. Now, what is equality? What is pay? What is equality? Do we expect equality in what terms? I think this subject is something I think a lot of debatable, lot of questions that arise. But only thing is you'll be answering all these things. These are the other challenges of HRM, IHRM. Now let us discuss what is the scope of IHRM. First unit talks about the first block talks about three things: basic introductory, then it talks about nature, scope, then it talks about something about international business. Then it talks about cross-cultural issue. There are three things are there. I have gone through that. I'm trying to present some of those things. Then the scope of IHRM. You don't think I'm reversing, but I'll try to put it like this. The last point, I'll try to put it as first point. The scope of IHRM comprises number one, how do you craft global HR strategy? How do you develop policies? How do you see that these policies are integrated with your branches which are located in different countries? So when you there's that is a very important issue. Now everything that you are doing in other countries, they should align with global HR strategies and policies. So it is a very big subject. You have to consider so many aspects, and some of those things you may think trickish, but they have lot of implications. Lot of implications. One decision that is taken the headquarters, when it goes to the other country, what shape it's going to take, we do not know. Then the second thing is you global workforce planning and recruitment. Now, once you have crafted the strategy, once you crafted business, and one more thing, you have a strategy, grant or strategy of your organization. Within that one, various businesses, various functions of management strategies they come. Strategy, financial strategy will come, marketing strategy will come, HR strategies will come, and again, all these things need to be aligned. So the second thing that we talk about, Global workforce planning and recruitment. So, strategy, then from that, you have to think about how are we going to recruit global workforce? Are we going to take any person? And let me tell you, when we talk about global workforce, again, we have certain beliefs, we have certain orientation, and our recruitment will go based on the orientation that we have. So you have to plan for human resources, and you should also get into this talent management, recruitment. Okay, these things you have to get into. Then once you recruit, then the next thing that comes is how are you going to train these people? See, as I told you, in the case of domestic or HRM training, maybe we'll be talking about something about certain things about company, then the type of business that you are into, and all these things. But when you talk about a global company, you have a cross cultural management, then cross cultural training, expatriate training, not only training to that person who is going to a different country, sometimes you may have to have a training program with their family members also. I think that is that is the third thing. Okay. In other words, IHRM, it encompasses cross-cultural management and training. Then the next thing that we are going to discuss is about performance management, performance evaluation. When you talk about performance management, you talk about key performance area or key performance indicators, some of these things. Then the next thing is, how are you going to decide the performance that they have to show? And again, here, what are your belief systems? What are your belief system? You must have heard about MBO. You must have heard about management by objectives. Are we going to follow that one? Or are we going to decide what they have to do unilaterally? Then how are we going to enable them to achieve that kind of performance? So again, performance management, entire performance management with a global perspective has to be discussed in international human resource management. Then we talk about compensation and benefits. IHRM uh, encompasses compensation and benefit. What is the pay? How much? What is the difference between the pay that you are paying if the person is from this country and the person from our country when he's going abroad? Normally, any person accept the assignment because he's going to get a little more money than what he's getting here. Then what are the other benefits that he's going to get? Then if you recruit someone from that country where you are locating your business, or how much you are willing to pay. See, it is a big subject. And compensation, what are the different forms of compensation that you are going to pay? What's going to be base pay? What is going to be variable pay? What are the other benefit that you want to give? Are you going to give any tax benefits? Or are you going to take into consideration, or are you going to, in the sense, the tax aspects? See, normally we go to a foreign country so that we can save little amount of money. With that intention, we'll be going there. So that saving always happens in terms of taxes. Are you going to address those issues also? So these things we are addressing in compensation and benefits. Then International employee relations. You are sending your people there. What kind of employer-employee relations you are expecting? Then, if there is a grievance, if there is any problem, how the problem has to be addressed. If something goes wrong, how punishment has to be awarded. Oh, again, it's a very big subject. Okay, that also we discuss under international human resource management. Then how do you develop the talent that is there in your organization? What are the training and development method? How do you identify the problem? How do you identify the talent? How do you procure talent to your organization? All these things are discussed in international human resource management. So when they ask you what is the scope of international human resource management, under these headings you need to write. Then quickly we will say what are the objectives of international human resource management. Now, number one, to enhance and develop skills and knowledge and abilities of HR managers and employees in managerial, organizational, technical fields. That is what we need to do. We have to develop people. Then we have to help people successfully develop and manage business operation spread across country or different countries. Then third objective of IHRM, so you might be thinking same points, this fellow is repeating in different ways because you have to present your answer. Yeah, see, the next objective is you need to prepare the payroll process and compensate employees fairly and on time, skillfully and effectively. Then manage the performances, appraisals, and career paths of employees because you go there because you want to see some improvement in your career. Then effective management and organization of cross-cultural counseling, language training program to help seamless communication and understanding and reduce cultural differences between employees. Then the next thing that we are going to talk, we have to develop HR strategies that are competitive and are fit to address the issues and challenges of employees and businesses in the global landscape. Then the next objective is we need to give a local look to its geographies of the presence without jeopardizing its global identity. A simple thing, you have to become more and more local, global plus local, because people always they get um, a sense of insecurity when a foreign company comes, thinking that foreign company is going to damage my culture, okay, damage my identity. We need to convey to people, yes, we are going to assimilate ourselves into your country and we respect you, and to do that, you need to become more and more global. Then you need to create an awareness. I told you about cultural sensitivities among managers globally and recruiting staff across geographic boundaries. See, when you take people from different nations, then you have to become culturally sensitive, and you have to give training regarding that purpose, regarding being cultural sensitive. Then we have to ensure to train the expatriates on the cultures and sensitivities of the host country. That is also objective of IHRM. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for them to live in that country. To minimize the cultural shocks and prevent regional disparities. Then the next objective is to minimize the liabilities of international human resources and ensure confidence, sense of belongingness among the people. So these are the objectives of international human resource management. Then Based on all these things, what we can say, international, based on what all we have discussed, we can say that international human resource management is the process of procuring, allocating, effectively utilizing human resources in a transnational or multinational corporations. And in the process of doing, there are three sources of employees for an MNC assignment: parent country, host country, and third country. When you compare with domestic HRM, the scope of IHRM is very, very wide, and it has to take care of a number of constituencies. And therefore, a model has emerged. That model is given by Morgan, and this model consists of three dimensions. One is human resource activity. It talks about procurement, allocation, and utilization. The second element is country of operation, the host country where a subsidiary is located, the home country in which firm's headquarters, and a third country which may be the source of labor and finance. Then the third dimension, it talks about types of employees of an international firm, host country, nationals, parent country nationals, and third country nationals. Based on this small diagram, I think you can see any book, they give procure, allocate, utilize, then host country, home country, and other, then host country nationals, parent country nationals, and third country nationals. This is the diagram people they try to draw. So in this model, when you talk about parent country employees, employees working in the country where the company is originally headquartered are parent country employees. For example, if an Indian is working in India for a company that is originated in India and has its base here, then host country employees working in the country in which company subsidiary is located. For example, an Indian residing working in another country. Then third country employees who do not belong to the parent country or host country, but are employed at one of the subsidiaries or corporate headquarters. For example, a German MNC which has its corporate office in America can employ an American as CEO or in any other role in the other countries. The American is the third country employee. Okay. Now, I think these are the things that I wanted to discuss. The other things we will see in the next session. Thank you. It's 4 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, ma'am.